If you've recently been in the market for real estate or looking to finally own your first property, then you know exactly how difficult it's been on the housing market. I will be covering exactly some of the main reasons why the housing market is at an all-time high since the last housing crash in 2008. If you haven't been paying attention lately to what exactly is happening in the housing market, then let me get you caught up to speed. The housing market has been breaking the news all over the internet so far in 2022.
Home prices are soaring and inventory is down.
There just aren't enough homes for everybody who wants to buy a home. Builders are building as much as they can, but it's not enough to meet demand. So low supply, high demand, you get high prices.
Insane. More precisely, home prices have jumped nearly 20% since this time last year. The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas warned this week of what it called a brewing U.S. housing bubble.
It has reached its biggest consistent 3-month spike since 1994. That's almost 30 years ago. This has been considered one of the biggest spikes in mortgage rates. This has been extremely difficult for older adults in the early 1980s. We are currently seeing many similar signs to the ones we saw in 1994. People eventually could no longer afford the high interest rates and became homeless. For a more recent comparison, we can look at 2013 as a year for bad mortgage rates. The prices didn't ease up at all for over 8 weeks, so you can probably guess how bad that looks for us in 2022. We've been having no luck with the mortgage rates getting better, and we're already at 7 weeks. So let's talk about some even more recent activity in the market. Just last February, the average monthly mortgage payment increased by 8%, according to Mortgage Bankers Association, which is a significant amount considering it's real estate. But it doesn't stop there. Just at the start of April, we saw another increase in the mortgage rates. Even though it's increasing at a slow pace, it's steady and consistent. This will quickly add up, making it nearly impossible to find any affordable housing. There are two main reasons why you are seeing this increase in mortgage rates. Our economy is currently undergoing a severe housing shortage. You add to that increasingly more people working from home. Then you can see why people are realizing they have to spend more time at home. But there's a new trend among the housing industry experts. They say that these rises are a good thing for the piping hot U.S. housing market. After almost 2 years of an extremely expensive, extremely fast-paced market, higher mortgage rates are just what the market needs to cool things down. A lot of people expect these higher rates to slow down demand and put home prices back to where they were. So let's talk about two things that higher mortgage rates do to help the housing market. First, we can expect higher mortgage interests to cool housing price growth. Second, higher mortgage rates mean a more balanced housing market. A lot of experts say that higher mortgage rates will force some people, especially first-time homebuyers, to pull out of the housing market for a while. And renting doesn't seem like a good idea either. Now that we know a bit of history and context for the present times, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far. Leave a like and comment down below what you think. Now, let's talk about some predictions according to the information we just covered. We've been hearing experts warning us that rising rates can make rental inflation even worse. People looking for houses nowadays are finding expensive houses that they might not even own. Unfortunately, things like this push more people out of being buyers and more as renters, making it a complete war zone between the two. In a weird, vicious cycle, these rising rents will continue to put pressure on people who can afford to buy instead and make their lives harder with higher interest rates. That being said, higher rates won't create more supply. If anything, rising rates across the economy will only increase the amount of money homebuilders need to borrow. So then, what exactly are some of the biggest causes of this housing market crash? It comes down to a few things like increased interest rates, housing inventory, supply shortages, and even labor shortages. Thanks to the pandemic and a few more pressing problems, people are going in and out of jobs and are pretty unstable, to say the least. Early on in the pandemic, falling mortgage rates pushed these rising home prices. People found it difficult to pay monthly mortgage payments, so the housing market was down for the count for a while, for a large chunk of 2020. But if both mortgage and home prices rise, then monthly payments can come back quickly. Aside from that, rates and home prices could also be going up because of today's high inflation. Rents are now soaring too. That means that there isn't really any good option other than having to actually buy a home. So what should you do if you're looking to move into a new apartment or house but don't want to pay these ridiculous prices that we are being presented with? Well, there are a few good options you can consider. One, you could move to lower cost areas in the US. This will help you save money and offer a brand new lifestyle. Another is, if you really don't have the means to buy a house right now, then you might have to hold off on it. But if you really have to, then making a lot of offers is the best way to go. The more offers you make, the better the chance of finding a good deal. If you're really interested in buying a house right now, there are a few do's and don'ts that I highly recommend. The main one is going all out and bidding for houses that are in short supply now before it gets even worse. And thanks to the fact that the cost of financing a home is spreading like wildfire, the housing market might soon be reaching a tipping point where rabid homeowners will have to pull back. One piece of good news, though, is that some homeowners might finally put up their homes for sale. That means more options for varied prices. The start of 2022 has definitely been a colorful one for the housing market. A lot of increases have happened in mortgage rates and housing prices. It's definitely not a bad thing to want a house at this point, but it's definitely difficult to buy one. If you do really want a house, I advise you to stick with your plan and get a house as soon as you can. The quicker the better, because as of right now, it doesn't look like the housing prices are going to let up anytime soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video for more finance tips and up-to-date news. Thanks for watching.